Now, his picturesque swing and impressive long irons caught the attention of fellow PGA Tour winner Max Homa, who tweeted this after the PGA Championship. He said, "Precision versus power will be fun to watch over the next couple of decades, thanks to Colin Morikawa. People will keep getting longer. He will keep hitting it closer." So, Robert Dameron, this is a really interesting debate to have. But which skill do you expect to have more value on a professional level over the next 10 years? We're talking precision versus power.
Well, this is really a difficult question, and it's not one hand or the other. The powerful players on the PGA Tour are extraordinarily precise, and the precise players are so long, it's unbelievable. You just don't, they're just not long compared to the way Bryson is now. So you've got to, frankly, have a little bit of each. But if you're asking, yeah, give me precision. Give me whatever Morikawa is doing is what I want. So if we want to call that precision, that's it.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, Robert, only because the way the golf courses seem to be trending, and I thought it was a very self-aware tweet, by the way, about from Max Homa about the length that we're seeing on the PGA Tour. He, of course, is a long hitter, young man himself, but the way these golf courses are being presented, where you have to have 600-yard par fives and 500-yard par fours. I would rather have the length. If you ask me, play out of the rough with a wedge or the fairway with a 6 iron. I think most players would say, well, give me the rough and a wedge. These golf courses are being conditioned, I think, to favor the big hitter.
It's the old bomb and gouge strategy, Paige. The gaining distance and the distance debate. Bryson DeChambeau, that has been on the top of everyone's headlines so far this year. But in your opinion, how do these skills kind of vary when it comes to the women's game in terms of the order of importance?
Yeah, and I think Damon brought up a good point because it really does come down to course setup. And for that reason, the power game, while it's important on the LPGA Tour, is less indicative of maybe the success because they play longer golf courses. And by that, I mean they're hitting longer clubs into the greens. Therefore, the rough becomes a greater penalty, not only because of reduced swing speed, but also because hitting a 5 iron out of the rough is a lot more difficult than hitting a 9 iron out of the rough. And that's why on the women's side, you see only 3 players in the top 20 in the world also rank in the top 20 in driving distance on the LPGA Tour. There's still a little bit better correlation on the PGA Tour, but yet only 5 in the top 20 in driving distance rank in the top, inside the top 5 in the world ranking on the men's side. So I do think even that correlation is not as strong as I think a lot of people believe. So for that reason, I think precision on both games will ultimately play out as the most important in the future, even though all distance is continuing to increase. So you as a player must keep pace with everybody.
Well, in this return to golf, guys, I think the two names we've been talking about more than any are Bryson DeChambeau and Colin Morikawa. So, Robert, I'll start with you. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, project, who would you rather have? Whose career would you rather have? Who's going to be more successful? Is it the guy who's 107th in distance off the tee and Colin Morikawa averaging 295 yards, or is it Bryson DeChambeau who's first in driving distance at 323 yards? Who do you got?
Yeah, 107th at 295 is pretty telling. Of course, they're both doing fantastic right now. And Bryson, with his length, the coolest part of it is that he is added accuracy to it. He's not just killing it, he's hitting lots and lots of fairways. But this Colin Morikawa kid is something special. I have one question about the way Bryson's going about things that hasn't been answered yet, and that's how does your body stand up to putting on that much weight, that much muscle, lifting that many heavy objects to get that much muscle and sustaining that? Will that end up breaking down something? Will there be an injury? Will there be something that he can overcome or an injury that doesn't allow him to go out and swing nearly 130 miles an hour? So probably for that reason, but also because Colin Morikawa is so darn good, I would take Morikawa's next 10 years.
I would too, Robert, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, Bryson is going to be continuing to evolve and change, and I don't know what the next move is around the corner. I understand the point of the question isn't that. It's more so of, would you pick a long hitter over, a medium length hitter? I still, you've got to get the ball in the hole, and I think the rankings that I mentioned earlier prove that. there's a greater skill set required to play professional golf than just hitting it long off the tee, and you still have to figure out a way to get it in the hole. And for that reason, I'd pick a player that is going to be closer to the hole, time in and time out, hole in and hole out. And Colin Morikawa is just an example of a great iron player that can do that.
You find, all of us find so much joy in watching both aspects of this game. Absolutely pounding it off the tee, but also sticking it 2 feet to the hole is also just as enjoyable. But I do wonder as to whether precision will always reign supreme when it comes to the toughest setups and the biggest tournaments in golf. Like, we know major championships will be far more punishing when it comes to inaccuracy off the tee and inaccuracy approach to the green. So I wonder, Robert, maybe Power will dominate the PGA Tour week in, week out. Maybe Bryson DeChambeau will rack up more regular PGA Tour wins than Colin Morikawa. But when it comes to sort of building legacies and building those greatest of all time careers, do you think precision will always prevail when it comes to those major championships and the biggest tournaments out there?
You need both, but yes, precision is going to prevail. You look at like winning the Masters, Augusta. Of course, it's gotten to be a longer golf course, but it's not all power. Tiger wins it because he knows where to leave the shots around the greens. Jack Nicklaus won it so many times because he knew his way around the course, not because he was the longest guy out there. So you absolutely, especially in the bigger tournaments, are going to need to be more precise. But if you don't really have both, let's not forget, Bryson was a pretty precise player just 6-7 months ago, and we weren't talking about how hard he hit the ball, and now we are. If you don't have both, you probably need to, go find a job somewhere else that's not in professional golf.
I don't think Bryson or Colin have got that issue right now. They are both such
No.
talented players. What they are doing on the PGA Tour in their own very different ways is obviously very successful. So it is a debate that we will probably keep an eye on until we're 80 years old. It's such a good one to have.